Bhagavaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and I'd like to seek your good wishes, your blessings, so that we can start again. Srimad Bhagavatam, where we left off, 10th canto, and we had just finished the 40th chapter, where Krishna concludes his pastimes in Vrindavan, so-called concludes his pastimes in Vrindavan, and a crew has come and taken him to Mathura. So all the wonderful pastimes that took place in Krishna's first 11 years or so on earth had concluded. There were amazing pastimes, as we know, starting from the killing of Putana and concluding with like the Ras dance and so many other incredible leelas, the killing of so many demons as well. And the wonderful exchanges that Krishna had with the intimate devotees of his in the Brijabasis in Vrindavan. Now we're entering into a different phase. And of course, the Acharyas inform us that the Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. He stays. He never leaves Vrindavan. So who's actually left Vrindavan is, as explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is Vasudev Krishna. Yashoda Krishna, Yashoda Nandan stayed back, although the gopis never believed he was there, because the shock of a crew taking him away was just too prominent in their minds. So even though Krishna was there in Vrindavan, they never accepted it. So who left Vrindavan was Vasudeva Krishna, the more formal aspect of the Supreme Lord, a lot more formal than Yashodanandan. He's the one who left Vrindavan. So now, and he was the one born in, or not born, but he came. He manifested in Mathura at the time of when Devaki and Vasudeva were in prison. So now he's going back to Mathura. Okay, so chapter 41. This is one of the verses in this chapter.
Nahivam vishamadreshti surido jagat atmano samayo sarvabhuteshu bhajantam bhajatorapi. Translation: because you are the well-wishing friends and supreme soul of the whole universe, you regard all with unbiased vision. Therefore, although you reciprocate your devotees' loving worship, you always remain equally disposed towards all living beings.
Only Krishna can do this, completely equal to everybody. But yet, of course, he is particularly drawn to the love shown by his devotees. And what is unique about the Lord is he's neutral. Anyone can develop that love for him. He does not, he will not stop anybody from loving him. This is the point. Although he's drawn towards his devotees, nobody is excused or eliminated from becoming his devotee. And at the same time, he's also equally disposed. Even if one does not want to become his devotee, he's still a loving father. So he's always going to be equally disposed towards all living beings. And that, what that translates into, he will fulfill the desires of the living entities. That's what he does. So this chapter is entitled Krishna and Balaram Enter Mathura. the chapter describes how Krishna enters the city of Mathura, killing a washerman, bestowing benedictions upon a weaver and a garland maker named Sudama. At the end of the day, a crew reached Mathura. Krishna met the cowherd men because they had gone. They had gone from Vrindavan to Mathura. They wanted to accompany the Lord, and the Lord allowed them. Krishna met them, and they had stopped in the garden on the outskirts of the city. Krishna asked Akrur, have you seen something wonderful on the earth, in the sky, or in the water? Why did he ask that? Does anybody remember? Why would Krishna be asking that to Akrur? Anybody recall? It happened in chapter 40. Unfortunately, I haven't got it open. Nobody remembers? Let's see if I can actually open it.
It's where the Lord was lying in the lake, and the crew saw him there, and also on the chariot as well at the same time.
That was a good hint. Anybody remember what happened? Everybody asleep? We haven't even started yet. Come on, guys. Nani Ben.
Ben is trying hard, but can't remember.
What happened when Akrur took Krishna? What did they do? Do you remember? I'm just trying to see if I can find a picture. Or maybe you may have missed that one, actually.
Akrur.
They stopped at a lake to have a snan.
Yeah, I think I remember something. Stopped at the lake.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see if I can actually find it, because that is a amazing pastime. Yeah, got it. Okay, let's see if this shows it. Yes, there you go. So what happened was, as they were going from Vrindavan to Mathura, they had to stop, had a little break, and yeah, oops. So a crew went to have a bath in the lake, and when he was in the bath, he saw Mahavishnu. That is his worshipable deity. He saw Mahavishnu surrounded by the devatas, including Narad Muni. So he was amazed. He thought, wow, this is the Lord. And he looked back at the chariot and he saw Krishna and Balaram there as well. So he was astonished. He was absolutely astonished to see this. So that's why Krishna asks him in a interesting way. Let's go back to it. Have you seen something wonderful on the earth, in the sky, or in the water? Akrur said, whatever wonderful things the earth, sky, or water contain, all exist in you. Since you encompass everything, when I am seeing you, what have I not seen? What amazing things could I see in this world? Then Akrur began driving the chariot onwards. So they were still en route to Mathura. At the end of the day, he arrived in Mathura with Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna. Whenever they passed along the road, the village people came forward and looked upon the two sons of Vasudeva with great pleasure. In fact, the villagers could not withdraw their eyes from them. Nand Maharaj and the other residents of Vrindavan, having reached Mathura ahead of the chariot, had stopped at a garden on the outskirts of the city to wait for Krishna and Balaram. After joining them, Krishna spoke to a crew. Hang on a sec. He spoke to a crew as follows. So this is Lord Krishna. Take the chariot and enter the city ahead of us. So he wanted a crew to go ahead of them. Go home, rest for a while. We will go and see the city. They wanted to become tourists for a day. A crew said, "Oh master, without the two of you, I shall not enter Mathura. I am your devotee, O Lord. So it is not fair for you to abandon me, since you are always affectionate to your devotees. Come with me, let us go to my home with your elder brother, the cowherd men, and in this way, please grace my house, as I am simply an ordinary householder attached to ritualistic sacrifices. Please purify my home with the dust of your lotus feet." So Krishna replied, "I will come to your house with my elder brother, but first I must satisfy my friends and well-wishers by killing the enemy of the Yadu clan." So Krishna wanted to do his work first before going to Akru's house, because he had a special mission in mind for Akru, and he didn't want to reveal that mission until his work was done in Mathura. Thus addressed by the Lord, Akru entered the city with a heavy heart, informing Kamsa of the success of his mission. And then Akru went home. Krishna took Balaram and his friends to see the city. Mathura was glorious. So it was different from Vrindavan. Vrindavan is very, very special. Mathura is like a city, but it's nonetheless a glorious city. Its houses had tall gates and entrances made of crystal. Its immense archways and main doors were made of gold. So it's very opulent. Its granaries and other storehouses made of copper and brass. Beautifying the city were pleasant gardens and parks. The main intersections were fashioned out of gold, so very opulent. There were mansions with private pleasure gardens along with guild halls. The city resounded with the calls of peacocks and pet turtle doves. The balconies and rafters were adorned with precious stones and diamonds. All the royal avenues and commercial streets were sprinkled with water, as were the side roads and courtyards. Garlands, newly grown sprouts, grains, and rice had been scattered everywhere. Gracing the houses' doorways were beautiful water pots with mango leaves. So this is still the tradition in Bharat. This last bit, not about the gold streets and all that. So the ladies of Mathura were captivated by Krishna. The women in Mathura hurriedly assembled to see Krishna and Balaram. They knew somebody special has come. Some of the women eagerly climbed to the roofs of their homes to see them. Some of the ladies put their clothes and ornaments on backwards, so they were a little confused. Others forgot one of their earrings or ankle bells. Others applied makeup to one eye but not the other. Those who were taking their meals abandoned them. Others went out without finishing their baths or massages. Women who were sleeping at once rose when they heard the commotion, and mothers breastfeeding their children, infants, simply put them aside. Krishna smiled, and he walked with the gait of a lordly elephant, captivated their minds. The ladies of Mathura had repeatedly heard about Krishna, because Mathura is not far from Vrindavan. So often people would come back from Vrindavan and tell them about Krishna and Balaram. Sometimes the cowherd men would go to Mathura to pay tax to Kamsa and they would relay, this is what Krishna has done, this is what Balarama is doing. Thus, as soon as they saw him, their hearts melted. They took him into their hearts through their eyes and embraced him. The ladies who had climbed to the roofs of the mansions rained down showers of flowers upon Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna. So they had an incredible love for Krishna. This is quite a nice... I'm not sure if he had a flute. This is probably in...
This is Vrindavan.
Vrindavan, yeah.
Living Vrindavan.
You just have to imagine this is Mathura. Okay? So this is from the age of 11 and a half till the age of 28. And that is about 10 chapters. So up to, I think, chapter 50, we will see Krishna's pastimes in Mathura, pretty much. So then the Brahmins along the way gave Krishna presentations of yogurt, pots full of water, garlands, sandalwood paste, etc. Women appreciated the gopis' great austerities. To be able to see Krishna always, they were with him for the first 11 years of his time in earth. A washerman approached Krishna and he asked, sorry, it's the other way around. Krishna approached a washerman and he asked for some clothes. However, this washerman insulted Krishna, calling him a roamer of the forests, one who's an idle, always dossing about in the forest. How could he dare ask for the king's clothes? Because this was the king's washerman, and he had very fancy clothes, and Krishna and Balaram wanted them. But the washerman, he was a little arrogant. These are the king's clothes. Why do you want them? You are just simply cowherd men. Threatening Krishna, he told Krishna to leave. So Krishna became angry and he knocked the washerman's head with his fingertips. He then took whatever clothes he wanted and distributed the rest to his cowherd boyfriends. So they were in the city. They couldn't necessarily wear clothes which are meant for the forest or for Vrindavan. They wanted to dress a little more opulently. So they nicely asked the washerman, but his mood was not good. So Krishna decided to dispense with it. There is. Then he came across a weaver. A weaver came forward and feeling affection for the lords. So you can see the difference between the washerman who's arrogant and the weaver who's very devoted. Nicely adorned their attire with cloth ornaments of various colors. Pleased with the weaver, Krishna blessed him that after death, he would achieve the liberation of attaining a form like the Lord's, just simply by giving a little bit of ornaments. And also while in this world, he would enjoy supreme opulence, physical strength, influence, memory, and sensory vigor. So don't have to do much to please Krishna. Then he came across, then Krishna visited the house of the garland maker, Sudama, who worshipped Krishna with sandalwood paste, pan, and other paraphernalia. And Sudama, he was really extraordinary. This is not the same Sudama as in Vrindavan, one of his cowherd friends, nor the same Sudama that he studied with in Sandipani Muni ashram. But he was really intelligent. He addressed the Lord. "O Lord, my birth is now sanctified and my family free of contamination. Now that you have both come here, my forefathers, the demigods and the great sages are certainly all satisfied with me. You two lords are the ultimate cause of this entire universe. To bestow sustenance and prosperity upon this realm, you have descended with your plenary expansions. So the Sudama is very intelligent. Because you are well-wishing friends and supreme soul of the whole universe, you regard all with unbiased vision. So that was the verse that we read right at the beginning. Therefore, although you reciprocate your devotees' loving worship, you are always remain equally disposed towards all living beings. Incredible prayer. Please order me your servant to do whatever you wish. To be engaged by you in some service is certainly a great blessing for anyone. So Sudama could understand what Krishna and Balaram wanted. Thus, with great pleasure, he presented them with garlands of fresh, fragrant flowers. The two lords then offered the surrendered Sudama, who was bowing down before them, whatever benediction he desired. So, what did he ask for? He chose unshakable devotion for Krishna, friendship with his devotees, and transcendental compassion for all living beings. Not only did Lord Krishna grant Sudama these benedictions, he also awarded him strength, long life, fame, beauty, and ever-increasing prosperity for his family. Then Krishna and Balaram took their leave. So this is really phenomenal. Unshakable devotion. No matter what happens, we continue in our service for Krishna. Be friends with his devotees, and those who are not his devotees, have compassion for them. Very, very nice thing to ask for. This is Sudama offering the garlands to Krishna. Okay. So that's the end of chapter 41. Any questions, any comments?
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna.
just that, so when they arrived in Mathura, the Kansa was still not aware that they are in the city.
A crew went and told him that they've come, they're here, they're on the outskirts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he informed them. Because he was the one who sent them. So he's like a paid servant of comes, although he was a devotee of Krishna. So that's right.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no questions or no other comments.
If you just open up. You know where Akru is telling Krishna to come to his house so that he can purify his house. So that's just a lesson for us to learn, that we should always invite advanced devotees to our house to purify our grihastha existence, basically.
Good point, yeah.
That is the only way that we can be free of the attachments in grihastha life, really.
So satsang is very important. Of course, nowadays satsang is a little challenging, but nonetheless, nothing should stop us from service. Service is so important. In fact, we can even do more. Like people taking so much advantage of different, Zoom sessions all over the place. So it's good, very good. So even when adversity is there, we don't stop in our service. Increase their service, in fact, which is very good.
Very difficult, Prabhuji, in adverse circumstances to remember and carry on worshipping Krishna.
Yeah.
It requires a great deal of devotion and your, what I would say, not your own strength, your great belief in Krishna.
Great belief.
That will carry you. But in adverse times, because you are so much under the material mode of passion that everything overtakes. And you cannot think of Krishna. But as you say, it's your lifetime devotion to Krishna that would help you at these times.
And also association of advanced devotees, because it's at those times that there should be your well wishes and advise you and, guide you at that time. Because, you might not be in the right position to think clearly. If you take shelter of advanced devotees at that time, that would help.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when difficulties come, I mean, it can do one of two things. It can drive you away from the Lord. Why has the Lord done this to me? And you become antagonistic towards the Lord. Or it can bring you closer to the Lord. Like Kunti Mata, every time there was difficulty, they would just think of Krishna. And he would always be there for her. So it's a fine balance. There was one person who lost their mother the other few months back, and we were praying for the mother, but ultimately, what can you do? The Lord will protect the person, the soul, not necessarily the body. So that lady came to me and phoned one time and said, "I don't believe in God anymore." Took away my mother. What to do? This is the material world. At the end of the day, we cannot hold on to everything forever. We're going to lose everything at one point. Better to almost give it up voluntarily to the Lord. That way, at least, we've made some sort of donation. So, but it is a challenging one. But I think like your mentality is good. It's like very gentle and pridelessness. And that with that mentality, no matter what hits you, you're going to remain steady and fixed, and the Lord will really, in that Bhakta Astakam in the 12th chapter, he says 4 times, he says, that devotee who is steady in both happiness and distress is very dear to me. 4 times he says that. So it's he will assist in if one has the right nature, he will also supplement that nature and assist in being steady when difficult times come. They will come because it's the material world. You can't avoid times. Just how we handle it, that's the challenge.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. No, thank you so much. Right. So we can stop there unless anybody else has any comments. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, 10th Canto ki jai. So let me just get that record.